Let me explain this. So when talking about barriers, we're talking about problems relating to being an entrepreneur. This is what it means by barriers to entrepreneurship. One, lack of finance. Here I wrote, some people have the entrepreneurial skills, but lacks the finance to kickstart. Yeah, you have those business skills, you have the entrepreneurial skills, you have those things in you, but you have the business idea, you have the business mindset, but you can't do it without money. So because you are not attracted, your ideas, your business is not attractive to financial institutions. They don't consider you as a low risk. Then it becomes difficult for you to start up the business. You understand? Because you can't afford you don't have the financial capability to start up that business. So it becomes a barrier for you to be an entrepreneur. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
Two, lack of entrepreneurial capacity. Some people who open a business do not have the characteristic of entrepreneurs, which makes their business to fail. Yeah, you've opened the business, but you lack innovation. You're not an hard worker. You're not a risk taker. You're not punctual. You lack all the characteristics. You lack those characteristics of an entrepreneur. Then the business will not succeed. So you have the financial capability, yes, but there are other things that are attached to being an entrepreneur, like being optimistic, being innovative, being creative, being an hard worker, be a hard worker. All these things, you need to have them. If you don't possess these things, then the business is likely to fail. So it becomes a barrier for being an entrepreneur. Three, becoming an employer. So as an entrepreneur, as your business continues to grow, you start employing workers, right? So here, I said, becoming an employer, this is a huge task for entrepreneurs because it requires so much responsibilities from paying employees regularly. You have to pay your workers. You have to pay them regularly, which is not that easy. Two, having to pay different benefits to employees. You have to pay them different benefits, maybe from even health insurance, maybe holiday benefits, different kind of perks that you have to pay to them. Three, health and safety issues have to be considered. You have to think about their health and safety. You have to think about a conducive environment at workplace for your workers. And lastly, you have to train workers. You have to train them, especially the new ones whenever new employees came in, you have to train them, which all these things are cost for the business. Four, legal barriers. Here we're talking about complying with legislations and rules, regulations. These are expensive things that a business must even have to do. So here I wrote complying with legislation relating to employment, environment, consumers, corporate governance, health and safety, and taxation may lead into incurring more cost, which might discourage entrepreneurs. So when entrepreneurs think about all this compliance in terms of regulations, in terms of legislation, it might discourage them from starting up because all these things has to be taken care of. They are ethical stance. They have to be taken care of, and it doesn't come with a lower cost. It's an high cost. They will incur more cost. So this might demotivate them or discourage them from setting up. They are entrepreneurs. They have the mindset. They have the financial capability, but the legal barriers to having a business might discourage them from setting up. Lack of ideas. Not being able to come up with your own initiative, then it becomes difficult. You need to have your own initiative, your own background, your own idea. You don't rely on people's idea because you have to take decisions. You are a decision maker. You have to take decisions. You have to be confident. So all these things will come with your own ideology. So if you don't have those ideas, then it becomes difficult for you to be an entrepreneur. Is it clear?
Yeah.
Fear of failure, that's the sixth one. Many entrepreneurs recognize that failure is a possibility. As a result, a fear of failure stops them from starting up that enterprise. They are entrepreneurs, but setting up a business, there's a possibility of failing. So because of that reason, they quickly recognize that the business could fail. Then they are not even starting it up. Do you understand? Oh, this business might fail. We're not doing this. it's a no-go area.
Still has a chance to succeed.
Yeah, but we're talking about the barriers here. So they choose not to continue because they are afraid to fail. And some cultures don't even like failure. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Then the seventh one, aversion to risk. Many people do not have the charisma to venture into an uncertain event. So they don't have that capability to invest on uncertainty. They want to avert it. No, they can't. They don't want to put their investment, they don't want to put their money on what is not certain. Because business is a 1/2. There's uncertainty. That means it's risky. And what is the risk? Uncertainty that may arise in the course of your operation or production. So they don't want to try it at all. Then the last one, corrupt and unsupportive environment. This is basically the country itself. When you have governments that are corrupt, when you have a country that is not politically stable, it affects businesses. Businesses will be discouraged to set up in such environment because it disrupts their operation. So here I go. This could be as a result of political instability, corrupt government, which disrupt activity of business that would like ethical stance. Some businesses, they want ethics. They want everything to be ethically done. But because you have government that is corrupt, that takes bribe, things will not be done ethically. So this affects businesses. Is it clear? So anticipating risk and uncertainty. So here I go. The difference between risk and uncertainty is that entrepreneurs can have some control over risk in essence that they can choose the level of risk they take. For uncertainty, it is not dependent on them. So there's a difference between risk and uncertainty. Risk can still be managed by entrepreneurs because they can decide on the level of risk they want to take. They could choose not to take certain risk based on what they feel is going to be the result of it. But for uncertainty, it happens. You don't have control over it. It's an event that you don't have control over, like earthquake, tsunami, natural disaster. These things you can't. There's nothing you will do about it. If it happens, it happens. The only thing you could do is to prepare for the aftermath effect of it, the consequence of the uncertainty. That is what you can prepare for. So that's why we said risk can be manageable for entrepreneur, but for uncertainty, they don't have power over it. So let's look at what I wrote here now. Anticipating risk. Entrepreneurs understand the nature of risk right from the point they first set up the business. They already know that setting up a business is a risk because you are going into a market that is highly competitive. You need to convince customers of your competitors to stop buying from those businesses that they used to buy from. Those businesses that they have their loyalty to start buying from you, which is a very difficult job to do. So that alone is a risk because there's no customer in heaven. All the customers are here. So it means you don't have any customer created. It's the same customers that has been buying from your competitors that you need to come buy from you. So they already know that this is what they're going to face in terms of competition. So it's a risk. Putting up that situation, putting up that business or setting it up. So there are different types of risk entrepreneurs will take when setting up a business. Number one, sacrificing secured employment with a regular income to start their own business. They would have left a job that will ensure they have a regular income to starting up their own business. It's a risk. But they have to make that sacrifice to set up their own business. That's one of the risks they took. Leaving a job, a paid job. That they don't have to think as an entrepreneur. The maximum they could think of is being an intrapreneur. But here, they don't have to think. They have to just do their job, get paid for it. But they are living that, which is comfort. to the stress of ensuring that your business does not fail, because your livelihood as an entrepreneur depends on the success of your business. It's clear.
Yeah.
2, using their own money for startup capital. So mostly entrepreneurs, they use their own money, their own hard savings to start up the business. Taking all your savings to put into a business.
Yeah.
So that's another risk taken. 3, they know if the business fails, they could lose their investment and at the same time may not find another job easily.
Because they give up.
Yeah, they gave up their job already. So finding a new job might be so difficult. And this will only happen if the business fails. So they know the business could fail. And if it fails, their investment could be gone. And at the same time, they might not even find a job easily. That's another risk, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the last one, they usually know that if they take more risk, the reward could be greater. And they already know. They know that the higher the risk, the bigger the reward. I think it's clear.
Yeah.
Now we go to anticipating uncertainty. Like I told you earlier, uncertainty, firms, businesses don't have control over them. Entrepreneurs don't have control over an uncertainty. They can't. It only happens. And when it happens, the only thing they could do is to prepare for the consequences of the aftermath effect of that uncertainty. Look at what I wrote here. Dealing with uncertainty is more of a problem for entrepreneurs, as they have no control over the nature or timing of some events. The nature, they don't have control over. The timing, they don't even know. It happens. Right? So there's nothing that the business can do to prevent uncertainty events from happening, but they may be able to make some preparations to deal with the consequence should they occur. So the only thing you could do is to prepare, plan for the consequences in case it happens. You can't avert it. You can't. It could happen. It's natural. It's beyond your own evaluation, analysis, or control. Do you understand the difference between risk and uncertainty? Risk happens. They are manageable. They are measurable. Uncertainty, no. We can't measure it. We can only plan for the consequences. Aftermath effect. It would have happened. Then we work towards it. Another way to plan for uncertainty is to have insurance. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Is it clear? Is it clear?
Yeah.
So let's go to the question.